Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. I am Lori McGee, a member of this congregation and this morning's worship associate. I am joined in welcoming you by our worship leader, Nicole. Thank you for joining us this morning as we gather virtually once again, a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow in community. Wherever you are this morning, we welcome you. May our time together be filled with joy, with belonging, with hope, and with the promise of who we can be together. We extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. Visitors, if you would like to know more about our church and being known to us, please contact our administrator to be added to our e-news list or to be welcomed by our welcome team. I especially want to express gratitude to our team leading worship remotely, including those who won't be on camera. You make all of this possible. We are a people who care for one another and value the connections we have with each other and with this community. It is time now to go into breakout rooms for a few minutes so you can say hello to one another and check in. Once again, I bid you welcome.
Author James Luther Adam states, "A faith for free, a faith that is not the sister of justice, is bound to bring people to grief. It thwarts creation, a divinely given possibility. It robs them of their birthright of freedom in an open universe. It robs the community of the spiritual richness latent in its members. It reduces the person to a best of burden in slavish subservience to a state, a church, or a party, a God made by human hands." In times of pandemic, we are seeking faith and justice. We seek faith where we can from our community, but at times we are creating new definitions of our living faith. We seek to find justice for all, including our children, who are burdened by their definition of personal justice and fairness.
As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice as a symbol of our sanctuary and safety, to unite us in our worship as a sign of life's beauty and wonder, and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us. The words for our chalice lighting this morning come from Julianne Lepp. This is open to unexpected answers. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Will you please join me now in the words to the covenant which are on the slide? Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Good morning. I invite all of our children to be ready to answer some questions after we hear a story. So parents, I'll give you about a minute to get them ready to jump into the chat. So this morning, we are going to be reading Little Excavator. This is kind of a family favorite. Let's see. Here come the big rigs rolling down the street. Thumpa, thumpa, bumpa, bumpa, beep, beep, beep. Can you see little E ready on the spot? He's the little excavator working on the lot. Wham goes the dozer, knocking down the walls. Rumble, rumble, crumble, crumble, fall, fall, fall. Little E is busy. He goes bam, bam, bam. Uh-oh, little excavator. Now you're in a jam. Grrr goes the loader, lifting up the trash. Pusha, pusha, push, smusha, smusha, smash, smash, smash. Little E tries lifting up some junk, junk, junk. But there goes little excavator, over with a clunk. Vroom goes the dump truck with a load to lug. Thunka, thunka, chunka, chunka, chug, chug, chug. Little E just wants to lug all day, day. Look out, little excavator. Don't get in the way. Rump goes the backhoe, digging in the dirt. Clang, clang, bang, bang, work, work, work. Little E is helping too. He can dig, dig, dig. Not yet, little excavator. Someday, when you're big. Where goes the tall crane rising in the sky? Whoosh, 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 high, high, high. Little E is stretching. He gets tall, tall, tall. Sorry, little excavator. You're too small. Now there's one last job and the busy day is done. But no big rig can do it. Not a single one. Everybody tries it, and it is much too tight. But can it be? Little E fits just right. Good job, little excavator. Time to take a bow. There's work to do just for you, here and now. You may be small, little E, but you will grow. You're a mighty little excavator. Go, go, go. So, children of our church, thank you for coming today. How do you think little excavator felt when they couldn't help? The Packers family is saying they were sad. Lola said they felt sad. Raylan said they felt lonely. Have any of you been trying to help at home lately now that we're in this pandemic? I see some yeses. So can you guys tell me what you guys have been doing to try to help your community during this time? Lola said she's been helping her neighbor. So with everything going on, what do you feel may be your place in this world right now as kids? Raylin and Evian said they're wearing a mask and not going out a lot. It's definitely helpful. I understand that these are not the funnest times. Oh, Lola said she's helping her mom. Great job, Lola. Anybody else trying to help around the house or around their community? Somebody from the Packer family does dishes. That is always very helpful. Oh, Evian does the dishes and helps around the house. I'm sure mom and dad appreciate that. Raylan vacuums and dusts. The Packer family children help their family make dinner. It's always helpful. During this time, I understand there's not a lot you feel like you can do, but just like little E, when he felt like he was really stuck and he didn't quite have a place, all of these little things you guys are telling me that you guys are doing for your family and for the community, wearing a mask, helping around the house, helping your grown-ups, these are actually big, big helps for everybody. And even though you feel, you know, as a kid, a little small, you do have a big job to do. So thank you.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, I know, I know. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, I know, I know. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, I know, I know. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul, I know this rose, I know this rose will open. I know this rose, I know this rose, I know my fear, I know my fear, I know my soul, I know my soul, I know this rose, I know this rose, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know.
In the spirit of deepening our connections, creating a sense of belonging, and offering each other support and compassion as our life journeys and as individuals and a community continue, we take time now to share our joys and concerns, our struggles and achievements, our hopes and dreams with one another. Please use the chat box to share your joys and concerns with one another. Pete shares concern for a friend, Dan, who just had spinal stenosis surgery. Ginny wishes good wishes for former student and nephew who have COVID. Renee has a joy that her son Keegan is home visiting with his new kitten Cleo. Vivian is concerned about how we are going to bring our students back to campus and keep them and ourselves safe. Heather shares that her grandmother is in the hospital with a broken hip. Her dad is struggling with her care, and COVID prevents them all from crossing the border to be with them. Cheryl shares that a joy that her legs have recovered enough that she can ride the bus and do errands again. Evian shares that she taught her cousins how to build a fire in the fire ring. Benny shares that they slept in a tent in the yard for Independence Day. Dan shares that last Wednesday was his last day of work at his job, but the great news is that he has a really great job offer and will start in a couple of weeks. Stephanie and Mike will celebrate their 18th wedding anniversary Tuesday. The Rome family shares that cousins and aunt came over for the 4th of July, and they went in the pool and made s'mores. Brad and Christy are celebrating their 8th wedding anniversary yesterday. Lola shares that they swam in the lake this week. Susanna and David are hoping that those who spend time alone may also feel connected and loved. Joe Kumali shares that he is grateful to all the kids who came to virtual Hogwarts. For all of these joys and concerns and those we hold in the silent sanctuary of our hearts, we give our grateful thanks. Will you now join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation, as is your practice? Our prayer this morning comes from Tanya Marquez. It's called Do Not Fear Agitation. Do not fear agitation, for agitation is the rhythm of life itself, to be put into motion, to be stirred. Do not fear the movements that decenter what you always thought permanent. You carry within the center of your understanding the compass to show you the way. Carry with you the love that will hold you, the vision that will guide you, the relationships to all beings and the world that will ground you. As you go in peace and in gentle agitation, stir this world to the side of love. Amen, and blessed be.
Our first reading today is by Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion. Be ours a religion which, like sunlight, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living. Our second reading today is called The Struggle Continues by Israel Bafardi. The road that lies ahead of us is a long one, and the pace of progress will sometimes feel glacially slow. Never forget that glaciers over time can carve out grand canyons and Great Lakes. Moving tectonic plates can rise up mountains over millennia, or they can explode awe-inspiring volcanoes in milliseconds. Our commitment to love and justice can do the same. I remember the exact place I sat in our sanctuary the first time I came to our church. I can still point out where there used to be a couch in the nursery. I remember where I stood during the service when Ava, as a toddler, clapped and said, "That was good singing," after the congregation sang a hymn, and the entire congregation giggled. I know exactly what the parking lot looked like when my husband voluntarily attended a church service for the first time in his life. I can show anyone the exact rooms where I have taught religious education. I know where Jeff, Ava, Tristan, and I hugged after we were pronounced family on our wedding day. I can show you where my family stood in the sanctuary with Reverend Stephen during Declan's dedication. I also remember the first Zoom service I attended. I'm pretty sure I was in pajamas. For the first 5 minutes, my husband and I sat on the couch in front of our TV hooked up to my husband's laptop. Then my older two kids got hungry, and I remember at least one point in which my toddler needed to be saved from himself. What seemed like a moment went by, and the next thing we knew, the final hymn was being sung. We were so busy being parents that we couldn't concentrate on Zoom church. Coronavirus, it seemed, had ruined my family's ability to go to church. We are a family that needs some place to go to focus our religious energy, or at least we were. We had to adapt our views of church from a place to go each week into action. I have to admit, my family wasn't prepared for having to create a new spiritual world for ourselves, or have to understand the difference between fairness from a child's perspective and an adult's. Often when we speak of fairness, we do it from an adult's perspective of world peace, of communal peace. However, children have different definitions of peace and justice. Children are more self-focused. We can teach them to be focused on community, but often those under 10 don't have the understanding. Their brains aren't ready for it yet. I have noticed Ava feeling very lonely in her sense of fairness. She sees the world as very concrete. Concepts and rules are either fair or unfair to Ava. There is no maybe or exceptions to these constructs. We live about a quarter of a mile from a local playground. The first time Ava, Declan, and I took the walk to that playground, my heart ached to see safety tape on the playground blocking people from going on the equipment. I almost stopped and sobbed, just as my kids were. Instead, I wrangled my toddler and gave him a ride on my shoulders, and I hugged my daughter tightly. In that moment, we all felt a lack of peace for our world. Something as stable and familiar as playground equipment was banned, and to my children, there was no justification for it. Their world had no peace. Their rules of right and wrong had been broken. A month later, we took our walk again. This time, the tape had been taken down, and my kids saw a family playing on the equipment. None of the kids on the equipment were wearing masks. As my oldest stomped away from me in anger and my toddler pinched me, I remember I choked back my own tears. I repeatedly told them, "I'm sorry, it's not safe right now," as Ava tried to reason and bargain with me. Declan pinched my face and screamed angrily in my ear. Ava actually told me that she didn't care if she got COVID-19. I took a break and a breath, and I repeated my mantra as I continued walking away. I added, "I get it, but I'm losing patience right now, and I want us to be safe. Please have a little more patience. We'll try again next week." That wasn't fair to them. Other kids were allowed rights that they weren't. None of my reasoning gave them peace. After that, we started our walks on a different path. We had to change course to create a new sense of fairness. We had to create peace for ourselves and bring it into our community in a different way. We have also tried using what our church leaders are offering to us. But as I stated, Sunday morning church doesn't fit our family. Saturday morning religious education is also a struggle. My older two children sit about 2 feet away from each other at our dining room table, and they use individual laptops on Saturday mornings to see their classmates and teachers. That's when I usually apologize to Colleen for the echo. In this routine, some aspects have stayed the same as it did before COVID-19. Ava and Tristan complain about going to religious education. I bribe them with snacks. And afterwards, I hear about all of the fun that Tristan had. A few weeks later, we try again. What has changed is I am now outnumbered when my older two go to religious education. I am no longer next door in my classroom or sitting quietly next to my husband in the sanctuary. Instead, on Saturday mornings, I am saving my toddler from climbing the cabinets for a cookie. Sometimes I'm tripping over a power cord, and I'm doing it all alone while my husband is at work. It's in those moments that I miss teaching religious education. I miss talking with my fellow co-teachers before and after class. I miss planning lessons with Colleen Teeley. I miss asking my students for hugs. I miss learning from my students. I miss teaching them. As a way to fulfill my need to guide, I bake with my kids. I teach Ava the correct way to measure ingredients. I let Declan dump ingredients into bowls. I leave the oven light on so that my kids can watch the yummy magic of science happening in our home. I have to admit, they probably think I'm only doing this for them or because I love sweets. But I also bake with them because one piece of my spiritual fulfillment is guiding and teaching. After we bake, I start making dinner and I ask them to help. While we eat dinner on Saturdays, when my kids attend religious education, we try to discuss the virtual sessions the kids attended. Jeff will ask the kids, "What did you talk about in religious education today?" And then I will remind them of what I thought I heard. Ava and Tristan will then happily correct me. They tell Jeff everything that really happened during Zoom religious education. Then they tell him updates on the video game that we play together called Animal Crossing: New Horizons. In this game, we build rivers and we buy presents for each other. The connections we once had before the pandemic are forged with other digital avatars in the game. The character personas have personalities, catchphrases, and even their own birthdays. We interact with them as we would interact with people at a park or at friends at school. We redesign our island by planting flowers and creating bridges or roads. We decorate and redecorate our digital homes. We change clothes and hair colors in seconds. Ava and Tristan's Animal Crossing personal personas now also wear face masks when exploring our island. In the game, they're called doctor masks. When I asked Ava why, she said, because of COVID. My children are concerned that their digital avatars will get sick or spread germs to others. This is my family's way of connecting to the universe, by attempting to control a fictitious world we have created. As my family has been searching for meaning in our digital world, I have been exploring it personally. I am often home alone with at least one small child, roughly 5 days a week. My days are filled with creating meals, cleaning up after meals, building blocks, and watching Monsters, Inc. for the 100th time. Since Zoom church doesn't fit my lifestyle, I have taken up meditation and yoga. Each morning, I wake up earlier than everyone in my home, and I meditate for 5 to 15 minutes. Afterwards, I practice yoga. I have found these to be effective ways to focus my spiritual energy on a personal level. Sometimes my meditations take me to far off places. Sometimes I am focused exactly where I am. I feel myself connect with the silence and stillness. My body will stretch in unexpected ways, as my mind did during service. My app will tell me, take a deep breath and try to stretch a little further, and I do. Reading is another way for me to connect. The action is actually very spiritual for me. I take personal, quiet time to delve into themes and let my mind explore them. My time reading looks similar to traditional praying. I sit quietly. I have my ritual artifacts of a blanket on my lap, my book, and a warm drink next to me, no matter the weather. Afterwards, I reflect deeply on what I learned. I take time to think not only about the characters, but about their motives and how it relates to their world. Reading has also become a weekly quiet time for our family. Every Wednesday, we engage in SSR, super silent reading, for 20 minutes. The rules apply to all awake, as this happens during Declan's nap time. We set a timer, go to our bedrooms, and all are responsible for reading the entire 20 minutes. This has almost become a new form of church for me and my husband. It's replaced our weekly time to sit together quietly as a couple. In this way, we all connect to our own personal level of spirituality. Tristan often learns about dinosaurs, and Ava learns about different types of cupcakes or frostings. This is how my family is searching for truth and meaning right now. Our sixth principle discusses the goal of world community. As a family, the time at home has lended us a lot of time to assist with the world in ways we hadn't thought about before the pandemic. We are finally getting around to cleaning our basement. In the past few months, we have found about a dozen boxes of toys that all of our kids have outgrown. Our kids are delighted to know that their old toys are actually going to a local daycare center who has been accepting our donations of these toys. Even though we are unable to play with other people or volunteer at a food bank, we take time to contribute to our community by sharing. I have also revived my knitting skills. Each week, I knit a hat and give it to a local homeless shelter. Often in February, homeless shelters see a drop in donations for winter items. Keeping that in mind, I consider knitting and donating these hats my way to help create a stockpile for when the need comes, so the shelter is better prepared. Despite not being prepared for this pandemic or the changes it would bring to our family's spirituality, we're figuring it out. As we navigate through this pandemic together and alone, I invite you to reflect on your own personal paths. Remind yourselves how you have found religion outside of Zoom meetings. Ask yourself, what piece are you contributing to this world and to yourselves? Trust that it's all there, on screen, on paper, on a different path.
Kristen Collins says, we give to remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We give to remember that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. We give because we believe in music, love, and sacred space. We give with the faith that together we have enough. This congregation, the UU Church of Kent, thrives because each of you believe in music, love, and sacred space, and you so generously give of your time, your talents, and gifts, and your financial resources. Thank you. Knowing that together we do have enough, we now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond. The offering will now be gratefully received.
These days the nights are long and lonely. Some days are comfortless and dark. Everything feels so wrong, like birds who've just lost their song. We need to know that we belong. How do we reach out to each other when we've been forced to stay apart? Instead of empty halls, let's find the church that has no walls. Have faith and open up your heart. Let the Spirit be your guide. Let it keep your faith alive. Let it hold you till we meet again. Let the light of love come in. Let it warm you from within till we see each other face to face again. Let the joy of life be known. Let it lead you safely home. Let it lift you to a brighter day. Let the moon illume the night till the sun brings back the light. They assure you soon you'll find your way. We're all together in this trial, stranded alone overflowing, looking for reasons to have hope. How do we reach out to our neighbors when we can't even shake their hands? Instead of empty halls, let's find the church without walls. Have faith, someday we'll understand. Let the Spirit be your guide. Let it keep your faith alive. Let it hold you till we meet again. Let the light of love come in. Let it warm you from within. Let it hold you in your place, in its holy, warm embrace, till we see each other face to face again. Till we see each other face to face again.
Will you join me now in extinguishing our chalice with the words printed on the slide? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again.
Henry David Thoreau once said, "Pursue some path, however narrow and crooked, in which you can walk with love and reverence." There is a path for all that we walk individually and together through this pandemic. In these times where it's easy to feel we lack a path, I hope you find yours in digital, in the quiet moments, on paper, in yourself. Go in peace. Amen. Blessed be. Namaste.